find out what to expect from the numbers. And for that, I want to welcome in Kim Forrest, founder and chief investment officer, Boca Capital Partners. Kim, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Let's talk about expectations first. I think a lot seems to be riding on how Apple performs for this quarter. What are you expecting to hear?
Sure. Well, we always take the consensus number because there's a lot of people that follow Apple. But that being said, we like to look under the hood at what the drivers are. So we think the most important thing for this company continues to be the iPhone and to a lesser extent, the iPad. It's great that services are very, very sticky, and there are accessories like the watch and, earphones and all that kind of stuff. But primarily, the platform is the iPhone. Now, it has very few competitors out there, but one area in which it was growing and that has stopped is China. So we'd like some more commentary about what they see in demand from China, and if there is any kind of break in the transition of the Chinese to buy homegrown phones rather than the status phone, which is the iPhone.
So speaking of the iPhone, I think there's been some concern leading into these earnings, and you've had some analysts ratchet down their expectations about demand, well, based on rather demand for the iPhone, that it doesn't look like it was as great as expected, especially given the context of there was supposed to be this massive upgrade cycle due to this new artificial intelligence that's been added, but then, as you mentioned, the China component there, we're already seeing indications of some weakness there. Some of that clearly has to do with the AI not being integrated there. But what are you expecting to hear when it comes to iPhone sales as it relates to this latest quarter? Are you expecting to see some progress there, or are you expecting to see some weakness, Kim?
I'm looking for weakness, actually, and it's for the reasons that you've said. First of all, it's a great product. Like, I got converted, in 2019 to the iPhone, and it is a great product, but it's really lasting. I have not upgraded since 2019, nor I'm always kind of like a laggard on the personal use technology, even though I was a technologist. Let's just not delve into that too early in the morning. Regardless, I am not alone. There's not a whole lot of reasons for me to want to upgrade. And as you point out, yeah, the promise of AI is there, but the delivery isn't there yet. And I think the great body of people are going to want to know why they need to upgrade and go through that cycle. So I agree that this is going to be a flattish quarter and expectations will be met, but it's not going to be exciting. Here's the thing, though. If you are a holder of Apple, this isn't really an excuse to sell it necessarily, because as I said, there's not a whole lot of competition. It's not like people are buying other phones instead of Apple. It's just that the cycle, the renewal cycle, the upgrade cycle has been extended.
Do you think, so to your point, that the upgrade cycle is, that's great perspective and something to think about as for, it's kind of not that you have no other options, but it's not that many. Where else do you go, especially once you're in the ecosystem? Because like you, I am in the iPhone ecosystem. I thought I would upgrade actually with this cycle. I didn't. It doesn't mean I wouldn't do it, this year, for instance, but,
sure.
I just haven't found the need. Personally, I know we're just two anecdotal stories. But Kim, when you think about, is this a next year kind of story in terms of the super cycle that we were expecting to see from Apple for iPhones?
Well, I have to tell you, I think everything's up in the air with AI, right? It all depends on the efficacy of what we can connect to and what Apple deems we can connect to. The thing about the Apple sphere of influence, or the Apple world, is that they make sure their product works. So I think they don't necessarily have any one vendor in mind, or they're probably working with people to figure out how they want it to work on Apple, how seamless it should be, where it's integrated. So it's still AI on the iPhone is still a work in progress. because AI is a work in progress, right? The whole deep seek thing is changing the way we think about where the compute should be. And I think that's really exciting. Now, if this is too much for you early morning people, I'm sorry, but there's a lot to consider about where the questions are going to be kind of compiled. Is it going to be on the end device, your PC or your tablet or your phone? And that would necessitate a huge amount of upgrading. That could be exciting for investors. Or is it going to happen somewhere in the cloud? And I think it's going to be a mix of that. So I'm not ready to say this absolutely is the iPhone cycle that people are going to buy, because we don't know how AI is going to be delivered.
Interesting. All right. Well, yeah, this is true. There are more questions than answers. And also the rate of development within AI is so rapid. Maybe there will be multiple super cycles, a lot more questions than answers currently, but we will get answers on Apple later today when it reports its latest quarterly numbers. The stock is down year to date and underperforming the rest of the Mag 7. Kim Forrest, founder of Boca Capital Partners, thank you so much for your time this morning.